Commentary by the Township Committee. Ms. Johnson.
Okay. It's been quite a 24 hours, and I think every adjective to describe last night's presidential election has already been used, and I'm not actually going to add to that conversation, other than to say that some are joyful over the outcome, and others are heartbroken. And I think it is a healthy thing for us to acknowledge that and to respect the way one another is feeling about this. And I think that respect for one another will help us heal the often referenced breaches that are occurring in the American psyche at this point in time. So I just wanted to acknowledge that. But I will comment on the local election and to heartily congratulate Mr. Mancuso on his victory. And there was nothing more American than what happened in this town last night. And that is that an eminently qualified candidate was reelected overwhelmingly by an appreciative public for a job very well done. You know so much, Peter. I've learned so much from you over the years. And there's an adage that says that people don't care how much you know unless they know how much you care. And having walked the neighborhoods with you and just seeing how you interact with people that love you in this township, it's so evident how much you care and how much they care about you. And I don't think the seat could have gone to anybody better. And congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Mr. Nunn.
I want to echo, congratulate Mr. Mancuso for success, and I want to also thank Mr. Mancuso and his opponent for the political discourse at our level, which was a bit different than you saw at the national level, which I think led to some of the broken hearts and perhaps joy by some people. But what government should do, as opposed to having candidates on TV spouting and spewing all types of garbage, is the types of things you saw here tonight, working with the police department, working with people from the community on the school board, perhaps even getting a history lesson from one of our residents. So I hope it may take 4 more years, but I really, we had talked about kids in high school in the Morris School District. I went down from Vale, Sussex Avenue, it was really nice. And I cannot remember anything like I saw this year in this election from both sides, and I think last night was a lot of people from both sides doing this. For the record, I'm holding my nose. And so I hope moving forward we can change the political discourse and talk a little more about what the issues really are and a little less about how people look and their religion, etc. So that's my commentary.
Thank you. Mr. Sisler.
Thank you. I wanted to congratulate Mr. Mancuso as well. When it was Peter One that he often refers to, I was a Little League baseball player playing with his son. And I'll never forget when he was the mayor in, I want to say, 1983. We had a Morristown National Little League banquet where Mookie Wilson from the New York Mets came to see us and give us a talk. And it was fascinating because he was a great baseball player. It was so much fun to see him, but he told a story, or not a story, but he was trying to tell us that, if you don't make it playing baseball, it's okay. And the way that he said it was, look, I'm an athlete, and if I'm good playing athletics, I can do it, but, if you're good with your hands, you can become a surgeon. If you're good with your brain, you can become a mathematician. If you're a good liar, you can become a politician. And everybody in the room laughed, and I remember, because I was kind of like sitting near Peter, I remember noticing that he was the only one in the whole room that didn't laugh. And I know why now, after working with him for the past few years. Because he takes this job so seriously, and he's so dedicated to it, but it's about integrity and honesty. And I've learned a lot from you, and this town is so well deserved, so well benefited by your knowledge, your integrity, your honesty, and just who you are. So congratulations.
Thank you so much, sir.
Mr. Mancuso.
Thank you.
Well, I'd like to thank everyone in the township for sending me back to this exalted place for 3 more years. It's a wonderful place to be, and as I said last night when we were going through the machinations of the election, it never gets old. I just love doing it, I love being part of it, and I love dealing with the people who I deal with all the time. As Mr. Quinn pointed out before when we were doing the best practices, a slogan came out of our meetings and stuff like that, which we've been doing for 6 months. And it is Morris Township, what good government looks like. And we are delighted to be part of that good government. Last night at 3 a.m. in the morning, as I was watching what was happening, it was a revelation. It was different from anything I'd ever expected, and I did not know how to sum it up. But this morning, someone sent me a little billet-doux, and it said, the great sports writer Red Smith, after the famous home run that was hit by Bobby Thompson in 1951. Harvey, you remember that year, don't you?
No, I wasn't born.
Yeah, Carl.
He said this, about five lines. He said, now it is done. Now the story ends. And there is no way to tell it. The art of fiction is dead. Reality has strangled invention. Only the utterly impossible, the inexpressibly fantastic, can ever be plausible again. From an article written by Arthur Cashin from the New York Stock Exchange, my good friend, and also the father of one of our township residents. It just, to me, summed up everything that I saw and heard last night without any prejudice to either side. So just an exciting time for all of us, and I think it's a great opportunity for this country to hopefully come together and put aside some of our differences, have good dialogue, and come to fruition as the greatest nation that there ever was in this world. Thank you. Sir.
Thank you. A couple of things. Well, first of all, Peter, congratulations. It was a very nice victory. Great to have you here again for another 3 years. And I've learned a lot from you, and have loved serving with you on the Finance Committee. And we've had a lot of discussions when it came down to the budget and your financial wisdom that you've accumulated over the years. Has been invaluable. So I want to thank you, and I want to welcome you again here for another 3 years. Just a couple things procedurally. As everyone knows, our leaf pickup is in full swing, and we've got another few more weeks left. Thank God we've had some great weather, some warm weather for the month of November so far, and the next week or so looks great. So again, just remember, try to avoid huge piles on the streets to where it makes traffic hard to come by in some of those heavily traveled leaves area. And finally, I'll just add, just one final comment. Again, we've just come out of silly season for the past that we've been in for 15 months, and a lot of rhetoric back and forth, and some of the outcomes were perceived great by some and not great by others. But Ms. Wilson, I want to thank you for your again commenting on the Open Public Meetings Act. Very much the same comments that Mr. Mills made at the last meeting. I will say the words that were used at the last meeting and that was in your candidate's piece that went out to all residents, there's a line in there that said, why would anybody come to the township committee meeting when all decisions are made behind closed doors? That's not how you refer to it tonight, but that's what went out to the folks in the mail. So words are important. In the spirit of the law and to the letter of the law, we've often had discussions on this dais about resolutions. But in the spirit in the spirit of how you describe it and what you are, how you defined it tonight, we're certainly not defined in your candidate's mail piece that went out to all township residents. And that I take somewhat exception to, because all decisions are not made behind closed doors. And to assume and to assimilate that they are is just disingenuous. So on that.